Turkish police have reportedly fired tear gas at more protesters in the capital, Ankara, today. Apparently, they fired the tear gas when about 1,000 demonstrators, mostly young people, advanced toward the police lines in the central square. They're chanting, "Tayyip, resign."
This was the scene late into the night in Istanbul. Thousands crowded into Taksim Square, many demanding the Prime Minister resign. Earlier in Istanbul, demonstrators clashed with police. At least one protester was killed. And according to the Turkish Medical Association, nationwide, more than 3,000 people have been hurt. 26 are in a serious or critical condition as protests reportedly spread to dozens of cities, including the capital, Ankara. There, police fired tear gas to break up one street demonstration.
Beyond this barricade is the road to the Prime Minister's offices. Between them and those are reinforced lines of riot police. They broke down this scaffolding to try to build up their defences. But then the police helicopter appeared overhead. And everyone knew what was coming.
The helicopter is defining, they're filming one to try to determine what they're going to do soon. Because they throw bombs.
What's happening now is the police are firing tear gas canisters into the protesters further down the hill to try to drive them back up here towards Taksim Square. They've stopped here at what is a barricade, and they are determined to hold their position.
We saw a number of people injured among the crowd, at least 2 near us with wounds to the head. The protesters have claimed the police are firing rounds directly at them. In this shot, you can see the canister of gas lands directly in front of the camera. This, they say, is why they need to keep control of this square.
The goggles don't help much, she says, because the gas is so effective. After the gas is thrown, you can't stay there more than a few minutes. You can't breathe. This can't be acceptable in any part of the world. I've never seen such a government. Police who hate their own people. We're not going to give up. We've lasted until now, and we will not surrender. Public sector workers are due to begin a 2-day strike in support of the continuing anti-government protests in a number of cities. The left-wing KESK Trade Union Confederation, representing around 240,000 workers, accused the government of committing state terror.
Some protesters approached the Prime Minister's office, but riot police managed to keep them away. Erdogan has dismissed the protests. He says his political opponents are just trying to bring him down.
Now, the U.S. Secretary of State is calling for restraint on both sides.
And we are concerned by the reports of excessive use of force by police. We obviously hope that there will be a full investigation of those incidents and full restraint from the police force with respect to those kinds of incidents. And we urge all people involved, those demonstrating and expressing their freedom of expression and those in the government, to avoid any provocations of violence.
The man behind the biggest leak of government secrets in U.S. history has appeared in court. Prosecutors say Bradley Manning deliberately aided the enemy, but his supporters call him a whistleblowing hero. Tom Ackerman is at the Fort Meade military base, where the trial is underway.
The 25-year-old soldier sat quietly in the courtroom 3 years after his arrest for downloading more than 700,000 files.
If we look at the main benchmark index in Turkey, it plunged more than 10% on Monday. Investors, as Naga saying, worried about the impact on the economy if this unrest continues. If we have a look at the performance of the Turkish economy, Turkish stock market in the last few years, you can see that actually it's had a massive increase. Shares are up around 300% since the start of 2009. But economic growth was weak last year, and there is concern that the trouble will undermine what is seen as a tepid recovery at the moment, particularly if tourists are put off, and some of the country's main unions, as you've been hearing, are staging strike action now in support of the protesters.